Welcome back. It's been a little while. What is your worth? That's today's topic. What is your worth? Now, some of you might look at that and say, okay, well, we're talking about gig work. We're talking about miles per money and this and that and the time and how much do I make per hour? How much do I make per day? What am I making per year? Am I doing okay? Do I feel like I'm being valued as a gig worker? Some of you might look at what is your worth. You might look at that as the totality of your life, how you are in your relationships. Are people valuing you, your time, your space, your energy? Everybody's going to personalize this topic how you want to personalize it, how you want to see it, how you want to try it on, and how it fits today in your life right now. Now, I'm going to start off by saying, and I've been talking about it, and I'm going to keep talking about it because I'm noticing it now kind of more than ever for varying reasons that might be similar or different than yours. Your worth in the gig economy is going to be very fluid, up and down. But at the end of the day, we should have some sense of pride or value in what we're doing. But also, if you feel like you're not being valued, you feel like you're not making good money, you feel like your time isn't matching what you're seeing in your bank account at the end of the week, what do you do about that? What options do you have? Do you need to decline more? Do you need to try something else? Is it going back to a W-2? What is your worth right now? Is it the same as it was 5 years ago? With the cost of everything kind of rising, and that's not going to stop. It might get better here and there. Gas goes up, gas goes down. Rent goes up. It will always go up. It's not going to go down. To buy a home, super expensive. So is your worth, have you had to recalibrate that now versus 5 years ago? Because it's very different. Are you still working in gig economy even though we are not valued? Let me give you a little analogy maybe, right? The UPS workers, and I believe they're a union, right? Most of them. They got some of them are making $40 an hour. And a lot of people were like, man, that's a lot of money to deliver packages. Oh my God. If you do this many hours, you could be making $100,000 a year and this and that. Well, they fought for that because they knew they were worth more. They felt they were worth more because of the conditions of the truck. It's hot and cold. The wear and tear on your body. You're lifting things. These routes get more and more. The companies expect you to do more and more. In a similar way, DoorDash and Uber and Walmart, they expect you to do more. Instacart, they want us to do more, right? They add batches. They do this. They lower the pay, but they expect more result, but with lesser pay. The UPS people, some of the drivers, right, got more money because they felt like they were not being valued. Now, I'm not saying we need a union, we need to strike. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is a lot of those men and women, they're employees of the company. They got a shirt, they got a uniform, they got a shift, they got rules to abide by, they have a schedule, they have a boss they can directly see, they've got union dues. So they have, the way they do their work is protected a lot more and a lot different. However, we obviously don't have that. So what do we do? What do we do? If you feel like you're not being valued, you feel like your worth is not equaling with who you're giving time to, whether it's people or companies, what options do you have? That's the conversation I wanted to spark today. That's the question I wanted to ask. Have you thought about that? Have you done the soul searching? Are you thinking about a different way to earn? Are you thinking about surrounding yourself with different people, different company? Not companies, but company. Have you thought about that? Have you already done that? That's what we'd like to talk about today, and I'd like to get you guys' perspective on it. What is your worth? Anybody willing to answer that? Let me say hi to some people in the chat. Hit the thumbs up as well. Adrian, what up? Chicky Chops, what up? I saw somebody saying a Mr. Greasy Greco, which I think that's my man Hoodie, Smurf or whatever. I had to ban you, bro. You can't be typing that craziness in the chat, being disrespectful to other people, making fun of how people look. And we're not doing that, especially on a Wednesday. So if you want to email me privately and have a conversation, great. Otherwise, We don't do that here. All right, what up, Gigaholic? Gig Gal, what up? What are you worth, Gig Gal? Hockey PNC, what up, brother? Been a while. Gig Adventures, Go For Yourself, Puerto Rican Hammer, Nomadic, Doing Only Gig, that's worth my time. All right. Gig Adventures, Aaron Gigs, Gig Adventures, that's still good enough. Internet God, Nomadic, let's see, get internet. I'm Mike. UPS also fired a ton of people after that. They did. And that, you know what, Mike? We've had back and forth, right? And I'm good with it. Appreciate your perspective most of the time. But you're absolutely right about that. You know, these companies will do a really good job of being forced, you know, when they're forced to do something, they're always going to weigh the cost. Okay, well, we're going to have to pay out an extra $10 million in salary this year to our drivers, which we already had, you know, we got to get these things delivered. UPS had $1 billion in revenue, okay? So the way they get that money back is cutting ties. So yeah, you're going to make $40 an hour now, guys. You got to raise, but you know what? Instead of 100 deliveries, I need you to do 110 per day. And that 10 extrapolated with tens of thousands of drivers is how they get the packages still delivered with less of a fleet, less of a workforce. So they're really not going to lose money. Big companies, smart individuals, lawyers, all these people, the mathematicians, the attorneys, they figure out, accountants, they figure out exactly how to run that P&L to make sure they're not going to lose money. DoorDash does the same thing. All right. There's no more apps I can add. ESUP storage. Yeah, that's true. TC Talks, TC Fitness. How you doing? It's a beautiful day here. Mad Dash, what up, what up? Dimitri, Pedro, why aren't you working? I've been working today, but I'm taking a break to talk about what is our worth. I'm telling you, if we all band together and didn't take the crap, they'd have to pay more. Donna, you're not wrong. And, you know, let me share a little story with you guys. Talking about worth. When I started this channel, I remember there's a man, a content creator. I've met him a few times. Taylor Markley. Not Taylor. Hold up. Hold on. Is it Taylor? Hold on. Why am I? His name is escaping me. Markley. Taylor? Why am I thinking Taylor? But I don't think that's right. Oh man, I'm having like a brain fart. Anyways, you guys might know who I'm. Tanner. Sorry, Tanner, not Taylor. Tanner Markley. He made a video. This is 3+ years ago, about 3 years ago, and he mentioned about money and I said, what if one day we got everybody together for 1 hour and said we're gonna decline everything for 1 hour, and that will drive the cost up for the companies, right? And his response was, hey, it's impossible. You can't get everybody on the same page. It's true. That is impossible. You can get small groups of 100 people here, 100 people there. It might make a difference here or there, but you're not wrong. But in order to organize that, we in the gig community, on Reddit, on YouTube, on Facebook, we are such a small percentage of the drivers that are actually working. Most people that do this work aren't watching me, they're not watching Bentley, they're not watching Tanner, they didn't watch Tanner, they're not watching anybody else, right? So it's interesting. You know, I've always been very anti-strike when it comes to gig work. I'm not anti-union at all. My mother was part of a union when she worked at a car dealership. She was a porter, the person that would clean to get the cars ready for sale, and then or clean it up after it's been sold. And she did that work. And she was part of a union. My grandfather was in a union. He was a factory worker. Actually, both of my grandfathers. Well, the two that I knew. Anyways, let's not get off subject. But as far as striking, obviously it hasn't worked because it doesn't. Legislation might. But personally, knowing your worth in your automobile, in your W-2 work, in your gig work, if you work from home, we all should have a amount we feel we're worth for our time. Some of us gig workers might be, I got to make $20 an hour. I want to make 30. I want to make 50. I've heard some people say, if I don't make $50 an hour, hey, that's great. Not very realistic. But, you know, it is what it is. If that's your worth, I salute that 100%, because that's what you value your time as. That's what you value your gas, your depreciation of automobile, your cost, your goals, what you're working towards. If that's what it is, but you got to know what that number is. You also, the worth doesn't need to be monetarily speaking. It's your time, the energy, the output of what you're giving the consumers and the companies and the universe. Is it worth it? The things that you are doing, either to make money or just in life, Is it worth it? What is your worth? What is your value? Something I wanted you just to think about today. Many of you have probably already thought about it. You've been thinking about it. You've already established that maybe even many years ago. Some of you, it's like I said earlier, it's very fluid. You might need to re-establish that because 5 years ago is different than right now. And 5 years from now, monetarily speaking, in the gig space at least, you're not going to make significantly much more money. The cost of living will go up, but the amount you're making if you do the same apps will stay the same, about the same for most, will go down for many, will go up for a few. So what is your worth? How can you focus on those real numbers and put to action something that's going to actually make you feel like you're being valued? Let's read some comments. My phone's a little cracked. I'm about to get that new iPhone 16. I'm going to trade this one in. It's not going to really cost me much. But as you can see, this bad boy is cracked. All right. I'm not stopping gig work. Hey, I'm not telling you to stop. Definitely not telling you to stop. But these are things we have to be aware of. These are things we have to be aware of so that they don't sneak up on us. And when they do begin to sneak up on us, we are in a position of power. We have leverage. We have something else going on. We have a plan. We have maybe money in the bank, right? Because we will run into the time when, and we're already going to start seeing it. And I think 2025 is going to be a monumental year in the gig space for people leaving it that have been doing it for the last couple of years. Now, that doesn't mean people aren't still going to come in. Record numbers will do it, but we're going to see a lot of the OGs, the veterans are going to start to find other ways within the gig economy, not food delivery, not catering, not shopping, to make money. That will be the trend in 2025. That's my prediction. Now, another reason that happens is we're going to see people that have been used to making a certain amount of money and they're not making more, they're making less, or the opportunities become watered down and less than through saturation, migration of people come into the apps, and that's going to take away the OGs and the veterans and you and I's opportunities. So what do we do now to position ourselves to continue to be valued and know our worth and get what we're worth? True, 5 years ago were golden years. Yeah. What up, Cliff Dog? Prayers from my home state of NC. Yeah, North Carolina, man. I hope you're doing good. I'm glad to hear you're doing okay when it comes to that. That hurricane effed up the western part of our state up bad, and it's really, yeah, I've heard there's over 100 people in Florida. I've heard maybe 100 or more in North Carolina, South Carolina, parts of Georgia. Crazy, man. I'm glad you're here. What up, Gig Wise? How you doing, brother? Slim Pippin. Yes, sir. TC. I've been on that lately. Wish I started in my 20s. What did TC say? Let me read that. I put some of my income into the stock market, 100% diamond, outside of my paying bills and my rent. Listen, I'm not a stock professional. I won't give advice, but I'm glad that worked for you, right? UPS gross margin is 11.31% with 52.3 billion total, 53.37 billion total liabilities. So much a company brings, it does not sell anywhere close to the full story of the health of a company. Oh, sure, there's overhead, there's costs. I mean, we know that, but they're making money. A lot of these companies during the pandemic saw record profits. UPS obviously being one of them. But that's what the company wants, getting rid of the OGs. Crystal, yeah, absolutely. They want ants, right? Busy little ants marching along and taking loads that are profitable or not profitable, and at the end of the day, just want things delivered. They don't want free-thinking individuals. I'm ahead of things. Most of my money comes from non-delivery apps. Nice. I was just dropping in a like and support. Appreciate that, Slim. What are you drinking? I'll show you in 1 minute. Bank of America outage. My account showing zero balance right now. I think I heard about that on the. I was listening to 11:20 a.m. Gigwise. They better fix it quick. I'm sure they will. Wasn't there a Chase Bank glitch where people got caught up into something? Stagnant wages equals dead end job. Woo, Mad Dash, you're not necessarily wrong. And I don't know if I think for most gig workers that do on-demand deliveries, I do believe this is a dead-end line of work. I will agree with you on that. I didn't think that a couple of years ago, but I think as the years go on, I'm seeing the writing on the wall. It is. In a similar way that if you work McDonald's or a restaurant job and you're making the same money or marginal, incremental, like little raises, but it doesn't even keep up with inflation, that's a dead end job if you do the same thing. So my challenge is what's your worth? Have you calculated that? Have you thought about what you were making 5 years ago? And is that better now? For some of you, it is because you've added different apps, or maybe you went back to a W-2, or you're doing it this part-time and you were doing it full-time and you leveled up your income with something else, a trade, a this, a that. Mad Dash is part of that equation, right? He's making more now than he was 5 years ago, but he had to hustle his way through it, and it was not easy. But if you can start that process now in 2024, last quarter of 2024, 2025, parts of 2026, maybe your 2027 is better. Maybe you're in a financial spot like Lynn, where she's like, oh, or TC, where I got stocks, I'm doing this, I'm investing. I use the side money and delivery as my walking around cash or my paying down debt or whatever it is. But what is your worth? You have to do the math. You have to count your cost. I'm going to say that one more time. This is a phrase that I was taught about 8 years ago. Counting your cost. And that scenario, that verbiage, that lingo, that saying could go to many avenues of your life. Counting your cost, knowing your worth financially, physically, spiritually, whatever it is for you, is going to be super important to keep you motivated to continue to do what you're doing, even when you don't like doing it. Let me be completely honest with you guys. The 62 of y'all here, I appreciate y'all for being here and supporting. I want to read some more chat, but I want to say this first, and then you guys want to share some things. I want to read some chat and put some up on the screen. Let me be honest. I've said it in some videos already, and I'm going to say this, and it's not going to be very motivational. I hate doing this work sometimes. Hate it. Capital H, capital A, capital T, capital E. I hate doing this type of work sometimes. Not all the time. I still find value in it because, trust me, I don't do things I don't want to do. But right now, situationally, I am, because I'm not at the point yet where I can throw it away and move on to something bigger and better for myself and my family. So I guess the motivation you can take from this is, as especially us men, I can't relate to, I'm not a woman, I'm not a chick, so I can't relate, but I can relate to my guys because I'm a father of two, I'm a provider, I'm a hustler, I'm a man. And men and women have different lives. They just do. Some might be very similar, but let's talk generally speaking here. Very different existences. Things that are important to us are very different. And as a man, knowing your worth doesn't mean you just stop doing whatever because, well, I'm worth $50 an hour, so I need to at least make that. No. Sometimes knowing your worth is also beyond the financial. It's the family, the stability, the unit, the legacy. It's like, I don't want to be doing this right now, but I know this is what I need to be doing to take care of me and mine, because that's the opportunity or the place or the season that I'm in. I don't think many of us want to get up and deliver to people that really don't value us and we don't even see. We don't have much interactions with customers. And when we do have ones that are good, they kind of stick out because they're not that often. And we have the ones that we stick out and they're bad. We remember them because they're bad. We tend to, people tend to be negative sometimes. We remember the bad and not enough. And I include myself in this. We don't remember the good enough. But I don't want to be doing this kind of work. Not all the time I don't. Because I feel like I'm not valued enough. I feel like I am making profitable money. But for me, doesn't seem like it's enough sometimes. Doesn't seem like what I'm doing is really contributing enough overall. And that's a whole nother live. That's a whole nother thing. I'm talking about community. I'm talking about like that. What I'm actually delivering, is it essential? Is it something that's changing and helping the world? I start to think, I think about crazy things sometimes. And I think sometimes, some levels, I'm bringing people to groceries. But we're just making people lazy. And people don't care. We're so used to, and we've made it normal to have anything delivered that people don't value us anymore. We have never been valued less than we are right now. And that trend will, every month it will get worse and worse and worse and worse. So where do you find your own personal worth within that and knowing that? That's what we're talking about today. Let me read a little bit. What you guys got going on? Dino, what's up, Dino? Hector, what's up, Hector? What's up, man? Crazy thing, we are valued during lockdown. Nomadic. That's exactly right. And obviously that was the peak of our value. Listen, okay, most of us, I know there's outliers in every trade, in every work, in every walk of life, in sports, in everything that we do, there's always outliers. But the far majority, we were valued so much during 2021, 2022, like that was our peak. Or 2020, 2021, right? That was our peak. We were valued so much. People cared about us. Even more customers left little snacks and goodies. That's when it all really started. At the door, the water, thank you. The tips were high. The companies paid more then. All the gig companies paid more then than they do now in base fare. Every single one. Uber, Instacart, DoorDash, Grubhub, all of them. Name me one, and I'll do the research, and I'll prove you wrong. Every gig company overall paid us more then as they do now. They should have, because we were essential workers, and we were providing extreme amount of value. Not as much value as a nurse or a doctor or a firefighter or a cop, but kind of right below that, if you think about it. We made this country, truck drivers, delivery drivers, rideshare drivers, we made this country continue to stay afloat. We brought people packages, medicines, food, water, insulin, toilet tissues for the butthole. Remember, everybody was freaking out about that? People didn't want to leave their house. Some people couldn't because of illnesses or whatever. And we were so valued. Right now, if I was on a scale of 1 to 10 on our value, that was 10. And right now we're at about a 5. And next year it might be 4.5. And the year after that, it might be 4. And eventually we'll get to 0 because we'll have more robots and more AI. We might have W-2 companies, DSP type companies taking away opportunities from gig workers. So our value, it won't hit 0, but it could hit 1. And that's in a very short amount of time. That's a 5-6 year window. It's not that long. If you think about it, 5 years, 5-6 years goes by like that. So what is your worth? Have you reassimilated? Have you readjusted what you are worth knowing that? Now, it doesn't mean you can't still make money. Nomadic is in here. She makes great money. Amazon, Grubhub, right? She's in New York. Many of you other ones that are in here that have shared, I'm making good money. Hey, I do a video on, hey, I made $1,000 in 4 days or whatever. Like, there's still value in it. But what's your real cost? Did you have to drive more? Car repairs? This, that? Think about it. Knowing your worth and knowing your real valuation, knowing how you feel at the end of the shift. How do you feel? Some days you feel good. Some days it's like, man, today was not that great. I didn't feel like I feel like I drove too much. I feel like I didn't make enough. I feel like the customers didn't tip me. They don't value me. I had a run-in. I had a contract violation because they said they didn't get the food when they got their food. My ratings went down. We all had those days. And then the next day turns around. You make $200-300. It's like, ooh, that was a good day. Some great customers, some good tips. I didn't have to drive a lot. It's a roller coaster, but how long do you want to be on the roller coaster? The highs and lows. How long do you want to feel the shift of emotion, the shift of money, the shift of value, the shift of your worth? There's not a, this kind of work is interesting to me because how we are valued is shift to shift, dash to dash, order to order sometimes. Think about that. And in other professions, that can be true, but those people are making a lot more money most of the time. Our valuation is so dependent upon another person's kindness, because it's never going to come from the companies, that we're gambling in a lot of ways. Oh, Dino, absolutely AIs. I mean, it's not going to take a mass majority of our jobs right now, even in the near future, but it's coming and AI is learning and the companies are seeing the incentives because it drives their labor costs down. They're going to have a huge influx of R&D and money that they're going to have to put into it. But they know they're going to get that. They're looking long term. They know that this guy in St. Louis doesn't want to take no tip orders, but this robot will. This software will. This truck will. This self-driving truck. This W-2 employee will, because we'll give them a little bit of benefits, even though it might not be enough because they're still using their vehicle. But whatever, we don't have the, that's going to continue. Yeah, it'll be a little while, but Where do you fall in that? Clearly, that tells you they don't value us. Let me show y'all something. This is funny. I'm glad Dino brought it up. Thank you for that. This is you guys have Steak and Shake where you're at? You guys see that? Steak and Shake, face pay. Now, other places have had it. This is the first place that I've seen it. But even when we pick up orders, there's robots, there's this, there's a food hall over here where you go in, you scan your phone, and then the locker opens and you pick the food up. And there's workers back there, but there's no front counter person. There's nobody asking you anything. Walmart, a lot of the Walmarts and all these are going to self-checkout. Nothing new, but look at that. Let me read this to you. To get started, scan the QR code to sign up for FacePay at popid.com. Link your bank account to receive $10. So you link your bank account, you sign up, you take a photo ID, you go into the Steak and Shake or other retailers or restaurants. You go to order, and then the software reads your face, debits the account that you have linked, and that's it. Now, what does that do? Now, that's an upfront cost for that company, right? Self-checkout, upfront cost for those companies. AI, upfront cost. Self-driven automobiles with rideshare or food delivery or Amazon self-driving trucks, Tesla trucks, whatever. There's an upfront cost. But when I used to go into that Steak and Shake, and now none of them have them. None of the Steak and Shakes in St. Louis that I've been at have servers anymore. They used to have servers. There used to be men and women that would make tips and money and an hourly wage to take your order, bring you your food, refill your drinks, clean the table. Busters would clean it. Those jobs have been completely eliminated. So a Steak and Shake now has 2 grill guys, 2 people on the window. They might have 5 workers in there instead of 8. Now, you place your own order at Taco Bell, McDonald's, Steak and Shake. Name a few other ones. CVS, you check yourself out. You check yourself at Walmart, Aldi. It's taking somebody's job. Right? It's taking somebody's job. What up, Rodney? Kevin, how you doing, brother? So think about that for a second. That tells you the companies value us. Our worth to them is nothing. We are valued so low by the big companies that they're willing to spend millions or billions of dollars to get rid of us. Think about that. I know that sounds backwards, but it's not. They don't want us to be employed. Now at that Steak and Shake, you order, they have an intercom, order number 52, order 52, Pedro, your Steak and Shake burger's ready, and then you go pick it up yourself, and you sit down, and that's that. Hey, I'm not, there's convenience in that. It might be a little bit quicker, there's less overhead for the companies, but they're just banking in all the profit. Our value has never been this low. And in the gig economy, for food delivery on demand, we're going to continue to see that trend. It's happening in the retail service realm. It's been happening for 10 years plus. Little bit by little bit, it's going to continue to happen in the way that we make this money. So once again, what is your worth? How long will you do this? How long will you do that? How long will you spend time with people that don't value you? How long will you stay in that relationship that you're not valued in? How long will you stay at your W-2 where you're not valued at? AI can't walk fast enough. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying AI is taking all our jobs. It's not. But there's a lot of people with a lot of money, okay, that are trying to figure out ways to keep their costs down and get things delivered because the consumer doesn't care. Some customers might really want that face-to-face interaction and thank us and give us a water bottle because it's hot out. Those people are unicorns, man. They're cherries. They're so rare. They're like the $50 DoorDash order. Very rare. It happens, but it's not commonplace. Most people just want to open the door and pick up their McDonald's bag, pick up their Walmart order, pick up their Amazon, and be on their way. They don't care. They don't. And that's okay. When you order something, you're not, I just want it delivered. I paid for the fee. Boom. That's it. Whether I tip or not, I just want it. I paid. I want it at my door. And some would say the powers that be in this country have made it so easy for us to be lazy and stay at home, and they want that. Do you think the government wants us educated? Do you think they want us informed? Absolutely not. YouTube don't take me down. Fair use, that's my opinion. They don't. So they work with these companies to make sure people just stay in their homes and get things delivered. They incentivize companies to put money in R&D and to try different things out and to go green and to do electric. And they incentivize them to do that so we can just stay home, eat the bad food that they process for us. Okay? Think about, I know I'm going on a tangent, but we like to do that here. I'm going to get in the comments after I say this one thing. Think about the food pyramid. Remember that food pyramid when we were a kid, the triangle? A balanced diet? Do you know how much bullshit that was? That was brought on by the food companies. The three major food companies in this country that produce 99% of the food that we eat. There's only 3 of them. I think there's 3 or 4. They produce like 99% of what we eat, and it's garbage. It's toxic. It's red, yellow dyes, 40 and 50 and blue this. They used to be banned. Now they're back. You go to places in Europe, people eat actual food over there. We eat shit here. Garbage. And that's a way to keep us medicated, fat, lazy, and unintelligent. Kill me in the comments if you want. It's the truth. And the truth hurts. We have never been valued so low as a human race, as a gig driver, as a person. So what are we doing knowing that to take some of that worth back? Hey, Sunshine. How you doing? You saw me? You should have said hi. Where Walmart was it? Pedro, what do you think is a good salary for a W-2 in 2024? Oh, stable. There's so many. What's the job? I can't answer that. A kid getting their first job at 16 or 17 is probably doing a job that doesn't need to pay him much money. Somebody trying to raise a family, yeah, there should be the cost of goods has gone up, and the rate of which minimum wage is a joke in this country, complete joke. You used to be able to raise a family on minimum wage. You can't do it anymore. That's the whole the whole idea of minimum wage was for a family of like 3 to 4 to get by. You cannot, it's impossible to get by on minimum wage. Even if you have 2 parents and 2 kids and they both have minimum wage jobs, those people are poor. They're probably going to not be able to make rent. They probably don't have a car. If they do have a car, they can't afford a repair, right? The kids are eating crap food because that's all they can afford. So we have never, it's the worth, man. You know, we do have to take personal responsibility and learn a trade, learn a skill, try something, bet on yourself. You might have to have a few gigs. I have a few gigs beyond just the gig economy, right? Because that's what it takes in order to get by. But I knew that, I left the W-2 job. My salary was a good salary. I could support a family. I was supporting a family on the salary that I had, right? But I realized, like, how long do I want to keep doing this? There's more. I valued my worth at that point was more. And it wasn't just monetarily. It was how my voice was being heard, the collaborations with my boss, what was important to me, wasn't important to him. And I was like, I don't know if I can continue to do this. So at some point I know I'm going to get, it's going to come to an end. So let me just make that decision for myself before somebody else makes it. And then I'm forced to do this or forced to go on unemployment. Nah, let me take control of my worth. Let me do some food deliveries full time. I'll give myself a year. I'll figure it out. I know I can still pay the bills. And all right, let me start a YouTube channel, boom, boom, boom. And then I got the monetization change was a game changer for me, right? So the worth is going to be what you make it. But Hector, man, it's crazy. What up, Lisa? Lisa's like one of my number 1 supporters at this point. Appreciate you. Always appreciate your comments. Can you imagine a robot calling in sick? Exactly. And in some ways, us as a society, there are lazy people out here, but I'll say this. There are far more hardworking Americans that want to work than there are ones that want to just feed off the system. I believe that. So we can't just look at the ones feeding off the system, the lazy, entitled ones. There are a lot of them, but there are more people that want to work, that are job hunting. And the reason they don't get a job or don't accept the job is because the work isn't worth it, or they don't like the values of that company or whatever. Or, there's a lot of reasons, but the point is we've never been valued as low as we are now. And the AI and the software, the technology, the opportunities to make money while are vast when you think outside of the box. And there are a small percentage of people that have taken advantage of that so they don't have to go back to a W-2. I am one of those people, right? I do things so I don't have to have a W-2 and I have a little more balance for myself and I'm doing things that I enjoy. Content creation, I enjoy it. I do. It's a hustle. It can be a grind, but I really enjoy these lives, making the videos, seeing the responses, whether they're good or bad, sparking conversations, right? And I get paid to do it, as I should. But man, that W-2 life, man, these companies don't value us, gig economy or W-2. They just don't. Unless you're part of that like 1% where you have a skill, like you're an athlete, a doctor, a lawyer, you're a coder, you're somebody in finance, like that. Those jobs aren't that, they're not out there for most of us. Most of us don't have lack the education, don't have the education, don't have the means to get the education, right? Don't have the support to get into those fields, or don't have the God-given ability to dunk a basketball. You're valued based on what you can provide to people, and anybody can do this delivery job. That's why we're not valued. Let me say it again. Somebody that just got here yesterday from another country could have an account right now. No, there are many people that just got here yesterday that are doing DoorDash or Walmart, Uber, whatever, and they've been in America one day, and they've already figured out how to get an app. Somebody sold them an app. Somebody gave them a phone, and they're earning money. The companies know it. There's so many people to do this work. The demand for these jobs has never been higher, but is it still worth it for you? Mike Drop, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? The apps know desperate people are going to try to make a few bucks. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely, Jeff. Absolutely. And I got to say, I now more appreciate what you've been saying now more than ever. And I'll share that with you publicly. The 300. I love that. Because you got to start working and doing things for yourself. And I've been saying it for a while with the Bet on You and things like that. But I think my message got lost because sometimes I wasn't relatable enough, or I wasn't hearing y'all enough. I wasn't, because while I hustled and worked and got a little bit lucky maybe with the channel, we can call it that, right? Something wrong with luck. We all get it sometimes. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And in continuing to do this and seeing the trend of wages going down and opportunities being lost, man, you got to go for yourself, guys. The government's not going to do it for you. They might help you short term, but not long term. They'll put a Band-Aid on a gun wound. Government's really good at that. The companies clearly don't have to value us based on the demand of drivers that will take the trash. I saw an order today, $5, 29 miles from a local barbecue joint that I love. I love doing business with them. 29 miles, $5 for one plate of barbecue. One plate of barbecue. I imagine that might have went up to $9 or something, and somebody took it. That's crazy. We've never been valued so low. So in knowing that, tonight, look in the mirror, do it right now. Think about, okay, where was I 5 years ago in the gig economy, or my W-2, or my relationships, whatever? Where am I at now? Okay. If you're about the same or worse off, you need to do something today so that 5 years from now, you don't compound that. Let me repeat that. Think about where you were 5 years ago. Many of you are in a better spot. That's okay. The majority of Americans are not. Let's just keep it real. And especially gig drivers. 5 years ago, if you were doing gig work 5 years ago, right now, are you in the same spot or worse? If you're in the same spot with money or worse, you're dying in the gig economy. If you're doing better year over year, hey, then that's a success. You figured something out. That's fantastic. That's not normal, though. So you are rare, and you deserve that because you did something. You got private clients. You got an app. You got a better vehicle, lower cost. You paid down debt. So now what you need to bring in, because your bills are lower, what you need to bring in could be less, so you can afford to make the same. Does that make sense? So what can you do right now? So in 5 years, when we're having a similar conversation, because I will be here in 5 years. The channel might look different. I ain't going anywhere. What can we celebrate 5 years from now? Small incremental changes you can start right now. While I don't love doing this work, 5 years ago, I was making less money than I am now. So I'm speaking from a place of experience. I'm sharing you my perspective. But I had to shovel some shit to get there. Think about it. I had to shovel some stuff to get there. I had to work really hard at my job to get and put in a position where I was getting raises, to where my cost of living went up, because I was like, I'm making more. I can do this. I like these things. I like to have this freedom and flexibility. I like to go out to eat. I like to take a vacation twice a year when I can. Usually it's twice a year. So you build a life for yourself, and like, okay, well, now I got to keep making this money. That's how I keep us stuck. But anyways, I said, I don't want to be stuck. I'm betting on myself. I'm blowing this up. I'm not doing a W-2. I'm going to go out into the world and go find my own money, and I'm going to set my worth. And I did that. Almost 4 years ago, I did that. And we've had ups and downs, but I'm better off now than I was 5 years ago. Not in all ways. I'm still a work in progress when it comes to a lot of things. But when it comes to financial literacy, preparedness, if something happens, I'm more prepared now than I was 5 years ago. And listen, I wasn't a bum 5 years ago, but you learn through error, trial and error. You learn from your mistakes. What up, Brian? How you doing, Lisa? So I just want us to think about that. I try to have these kind of conversations, a few times a year, that are either on a live or a video, just challenging myself and you to think about, where do I want to be? Where will I be in 5 years? Where will I be next year? You can accomplish a lot in 12 months. 365 days, you can do a lot. I think a lot of us think we don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. You have time. You have time. You have time. Bro, you got to where you are because of your dedication and reliability. I appreciate that. I'm consistent. Yeah, I was watching Bentley before I came across your channel when you first started and stuck with your channel. Appreciate that, Clip Dog. Angel, what up? Yep, drivers, we need to begin to use these companies to invest in our time, not us invest. Just in theirs, it will make a boom. I think, I see other people that use this gig economy and I know sometimes when I say full-time, you can't do it. I think some of the guys and gals have been doing this for a while full-time and they're doing okay still. I think they kind of feel like I'm slapping them across the face, or that I'm not being, I'm not considering them. I am completely. But I think it's still okay to say the majority of gig drivers, gig workers that are doing this low entry. No, you don't have to have any skill or trade or anything. You don't even need to have a car to do this job. Bike, moped. You could do Instacart without a car. You can just shop, bag, boom. You could rent an automobile, which is, I don't think that's a great idea, but some people do it. You could, there's so many, I just want us to be thinking about the next things. I know a lot of people are like, well, Pedro, you're still doing this. Why are you telling me stepping stones when you're doing the same thing that you were 4 years ago? I respect that and I get it. But how you might be different in other things that you do in your life, or maybe you have a great salary job making $150K a year and you do this on the side to do whatever and you're making great money. That's not the majority of you guys. So the way I do it and why I do it is different than you. And that's okay. It's the gig economy. You make it work for you. You do it as much as you want, as little as you want. Once again, what is your worth? I knew mine 5 years ago, and now I'm starting to reevaluate it. Oh, what's up with the fireworks? That's crazy. What up, Bud Soda? I knew it 5 years ago, but I'm starting to reevaluate it because I believe, at least for me, and if it works for me, or if it's important to me, it might be for you. We have to do that every 5 years or so. You have to look at what you're making, what your financial future is looking like, how you're feeling about yourself, not just monetarily, but overall. Are you spending time with companies or company, meaning friends, family, whatever? Is it worth your time? Are they valuing you? Are you being valued? We have one life, guys. I might not be here tomorrow. You might not wake up tomorrow. I might not wake up tomorrow. So how long will we continue to spend time being a hamster on the wheel, a person on a roller coaster, just waiting for the ups and downs, just yelling and the screaming and the fear, but then, oh, now you're excited because it's over, or you're at the top, or now you're at the bottom. It's too fast. It's too slow. That rat race is a real fucking thing, man. Real thing. And let's be honest, we're all in the rat race right now. None of us are operating billion-dollar companies and just having a check just fly in, and we're sitting at our home just or on a beach. No. You know, I read a little something a couple years back talking about like two different fathers. He had a father that worked a lot, made good money, took care of his family, was, you know, but then like started feeling like he was part of that rat race and was very up and down, and spending money to buy food and to go on a vacation, to have sushi on a beach. While there's a man in Thailand, there's somebody in Puerto Rico on Ponce, there's somebody in California, Mexico, Africa, Australia. There's a man that appears to be poor, that lives on a beach, fishes for his food, and sees his kids and family every day. So while some of us want to get to that beach, there are men and women that are like not in the rat race, are already on the beach. Think about that. Think about the power in that. Think about that for a second. The way things are set up and are designed for us to be in that rat race. There's nothing wrong with it. I love living here. I'm not moving, okay? But you got to know the reality of it. You got to know your worth within the reality. And you have the power to change that. You really do. You have the power to change that when you want. If you got family and kids and they rely on you and they need that income, you don't just need to be quitting jobs right away without having a plan. But if you can start thinking about that, so that 5 years from now, you're in a different position and you don't feel like you're in the rat race. You feel like maybe you're in the zoo at least, and you got a little more freedom. You know what I mean? You can walk around, you got a little more. And maybe one day we'll break out of the zoo and we can go on our own. That's what I had in my mind today. What up, Bud Soda? Good to see you here, man. Stable, How many hours do you work a week, gig, channel, etc.? Oh, like all together? It's a great question. Right now I'm on about 30 on a gig economy. 30 hours working at gigs. And with creation, I don't know. I don't consider this working, but if you're going to add it all up, the lives on Sundays for a couple hours, maybe Wednesday for an hour, so there's 3 hours a week. To make a video, I'm making videos usually while I'm either taking a little break or I'm on active delivery, so that time is included within the 30. But then you got to go home and maybe you got to spend 5 minutes to go in a YouTube studio and check all the boxes. I mean, it's a very small amount of time, actually. Then you got to read some comments. So maybe 40 hours a week. I'm traditional, about 40 hours all in on everything. Some weeks a little bit more, some weeks a little bit less. But I'm about that. I do that that's on purpose. Okay. I purposefully really don't work weekends or late nights on purpose. I want to have that balance. I don't want to be, could I work 80 hours a week? Absolutely. Would I make a little more money? Oh yeah, I'd make more money, but at what cost? I'm very calculated. I'm a big numbers person, very analytical when it comes to those kind of things. So my decisions are based on that because I want the times where I could take my daughter on a walk to the park and we can be out for an hour, or take my family on a dinner, or go to a wedding we're going to on Saturday, or go do this, do that. We're going to Virginia in the end of October. We're really 3 weeks from now, we're going to Virginia for 4 days, right? So I know the things that I got coming up. I know the things that I want to work on. So I'm very analytical when it comes to that kind of stuff. What else you guys got? I have chilled out lately, trying to live on my 40 hours and enjoy my free time. So far, so good. It's not easy though, right, Mad Dash? It's not easy, man. Especially for hustlers. We feel like we're missing out when we don't have the apps on, or we're not hustling, or I can make more. You're never going to find that perfect balance, okay? But trying to find a sweet spot, small incremental successes within your week and your year, I think that's very valuable for me. Gig work is perfect for learning skills, car repairs, time management, budgeting. Oh yeah, gig work is a business if you know what you're doing. I couldn't agree more. Jeff, I think a lot of us know that. The majority don't. They just turn an app on, boom, they're looking at gross versus net. They're not looking at a lot of other things. And then that typically will catch up to most drivers through car repair, car depreciation, an accident, not being prepared. You know what I mean? We think that, oh, well, that's fine. I'll make up that $500 next week. Next week might not come. The opportunities might not be there, right? But it does give you the gig economy is a tool. And, you can sharpen that tool by learning how to do car repairs, doing this. It will force you, if you're smart enough, to look up certain things, figure out certain things. How do I do an oil change? How do I change my struts, my rotors, my brakes? Things that most people can do if you do a quick YouTube search, right? How do I balance my budget? Do I use QuickBooks? Do I have the Solo app? How do I pay my quarterly taxes? Do I not? Do I just pay it every year? Do I do this? Do I do that? How do I set my own schedule? How do I self-motivate myself? Because I don't have a boss. These are skills that you can acquire. And I've sharpened mine. I was in the restaurant industry for a long time. And you learn a lot doing that, right? But you tend to sharpen other skills and tools as you start doing the gig economy, right? As a YouTube content creator, Jeff is one. Dino is one. Gigwise is one. Who else did I see in here? Gig Gal was in here earlier. And maybe some of you others might have a channel and I'm not aware of. That is a tool. You have to sharpen that. You learn analytics, monetization, speed of pattern speaking that people like, the thumbnails, the breaks. Should a video be 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes? There's benefit to each of those. So you start to learn that thing. The more you do, the more you learn. Get out there and know your worth, but we got to be an active society. And that's part of why the food delivery bothers me sometimes, because I notice I deliver to people, man, and they're just lazy. They're just lazy. It's like, man, delivery day, 24 pack of Pepsi and a big ass bag of the Totino's pizza rolls. And I'm thinking, and this was part of a stack on Spark, and this guy had a few places that were close to him he could have got this stuff for. Anyways, people are just lazy. Back in the day, man, I used to be like when I go grocery shopping, I walk to my local Aldi with my kid most of the time. I put her in a stroller or she'll walk with me, and it's something to do. You're getting out, you're getting air, your feet are hitting the ground. It saves money to do that. And a lot of broke people stay broke because they order delivery. So it's just, what is your worth? That's the question for today. Hopefully we sparked a little a little conversation, self-realization. Look in the mirror. What are you worth? And I'll challenge you, if you're making $20 an hour in a gig economy, that's not enough. Let me say it one more time, because most of you are making about that. If you're making $20 gross in the gig economy per hour that you're out, that's not enough money. I know you think it is, and you might be living somewhere where your cost of living is really low. Trust me, St. Louis's cost of living is very good. But if all I was making was $20 an hour, we would be not doing well right now. Or it would force me to work 80 hours a week. And that is not any human being on the face of this planet should have to do for an extended period of time. None of us should have to work that long. We need to work smarter, not harder. If you're making $20 an hour, if DoorDash is like, oh, earn by time, $15, and then that gets you to 20, you're losing. If that's normal for you, if that's what you've been doing for the last several years or months, you are losing. I'm Paul Revere telling you the British is coming. You have got to get closer to $30. And I want y'all to be at 40. Because if you're driving your car, you need to get to $40 an hour. And it doesn't mean it has to come from the gig economy. Okay? Mine doesn't all come from the gig economy. But how do you monetize while you're monetizing? I've been saying that for the last 3 years. It's an easier pill for me to swallow when I have a bad day. Yeah, I might get mad, upset. Yeah, because I'm human and I have emotions and I'm a flawed man. Okay? But when I have a bad day in the gig economy, I know I'm getting paid from doing 3 other things. So if I have an hour where I make $10 like I did yesterday, because I had some issues, and that sucks because I know I'm worth more than that. I'm actually making more. That's where I want you guys to be. What is that for you? Just think about it. Think about it. Uber Eats is ridiculous. Oh man, Uber Eats is crazy right now. Uber is the worst gig app when it comes to valuing their drivers. Number one, worst. Number one, not even close. 10 times worse than DoorDash. That doesn't mean you can't make money with the app. It just means how they value drivers. That app values us. We're already at 0. Yep. Absolutely, mic drop. You got to subtract those things. That's why, for me, I always looked at money now for me is the money that I make in a gig economy. Let me just be transparent with you guys. That takes care of my cost, my living cost. My cost of living can be taken care of in the gig economy. The other ways I make money is my future. It takes care of my future. It takes care of my future, meaning savings and things like that. It takes care of it's unwanted expense that comes up to where I don't have to sweat it. Takes care of that. Takes care of the extra things in life. A vacation, a nice dinner out. It takes care of those things. Taxes, right? But my everyday cost of living is taken care of 100% through gig economy. That's why I say I'd be struggling if all my money came from the gig economy. Then I would have nothing left. It'd be living paycheck to paycheck. So I knew that going in. So you have to figure out ways to monetize other skills that you have, other hustles that you might have, right? And I'm not telling you to put down 20 grand on this business venture or do, no. It doesn't have to be that. There are a lot of opportunities out there. I declined 100 orders and accepted one Uber on live yesterday. Gig work 101, that's crazy. You know what mine is, I think should be about 1%. It was 2% last week, my Uber Eats. And I've only taken a handful of orders and declined a lot. Oh, look at the balloons. So mine's probably about 1% too. Luckily, all these crappy orders come in pretty quick. Yeah, gig-wise, you ain't lying. Uber's weird, though. I'll have a day where I see like 10 offers, and I'll have a day where I see 10 in 10 minutes. It's crazy. But we're at about the hour mark. We'll wrap it up. I appreciate y'all for coming in. Appreciate everybody coming in and dropping information, knowledge, questions, thoughts, concerns. I just wanted to have a conversation with you guys. And I know this isn't new to anybody, to all of you guys, but just know what your worth is. If you don't know what your cost is, you don't know what your worth is. If you don't know what your cost is, your true cost, then how could you know your worth? You can't. A lot of us think we're making money, but we're really not making as much as we think we are. Just think about that. Crunch the numbers. Sit down with somebody. Let somebody else look at them. One of the best things I did a few years back was I let a professional look at my books, and my movements and how I got to that number. Eye-opening. Numbers don't lie. So I hope this motivated y'all. Appreciate that, Mad Dash. That's the only comment I'll put up today. But just think about it, man. You are worth more than you think you give yourself credit for. I'll say that to every single one of you. You're worth more than a company's value, and you're worth more than you even value yourself maybe right now. Just think about that for a second. Go out there, make your money, make good decisions. Don't take trash. Even when you're thirsty, don't take it. I know you feel like, oh, I gotta just try to be a little patient when you can. Okay? And try to set things in motion for yourself. Because like I've always said, you can do more for you than any government entity, company, or other person. You have the power in your hands with a mobile device that gives you a lot of opportunity, even within the gig economy or outside of it. And you also have 24 hours in every single day. And not every day will be great. Some days will go by like this. Some days will be longer than others. But you can manage those 24 hours the best for you and your family. But know your worth. We're right at the hour mark. I appreciate every single one of y'all. I will have a video tonight talking about my interaction with the racist grandma from yesterday. That video will be out tonight. Okay? And I hope you watch it because it's just interesting. You guys have a great day. If you're in a room with somebody that you love, if you're around a friend, family, whatever, tell them you love them, give them a hug. That might change their day. I'll see you guys next week.